All right, let's dive straight in. Welcome to today's breakdown. What we're covering right now is a genuinely landmark shift in retirement policy, one that has the potential to significantly change your financial situation going forward. So, whether you've already stepped into retirement, you're approaching it, or you spent any portion of your working life in a public sector role, teaching in a classroom, protecting people as a firefighter, serving in law enforcement, you'll want to stay right here, because the Supreme Court just handed down a unanimous ruling connected to the Social Security Fairness Act, and the consequences of that decision are far-reaching. So we're going to walk through exactly what took place, why it carries so much weight, and, most critically, the concrete steps you need to take right now to secure every dollar you're legally owed. Let's start with a fundamental question. Has the government been withholding a portion of your retirement income? For a very long time, for millions of dedicated public workers, the honest answer was yes. You may have found yourself in precisely that position, expecting a certain Social Security payment, only to watch it get slashed. Or maybe your survivor benefits were reduced all the way down to zero. No warning, no explanation, just gone. But a sweeping Supreme Court decision, a 9-0 ruling, has fundamentally altered that reality. Take a moment to really absorb that. 9 justices, every single one of them in agreement, regardless of their judicial philosophy or ideological background. When that happens, it tells you something critical. The legal foundation of this case was rock solid. And the scale of what we're talking about here is genuinely staggering. 3.9 million. That's the estimated number of Americans who, across roughly 4 decades, were blocked from accessing the full retirement benefits they legitimately earned. Let that sink in for a moment. Nearly 4 million people. We're talking about dedicated educators, widowed spouses who were blindsided by bureaucratic formulas they never saw coming, hard-working individuals who were effectively told, "This is what the calculation produces. That's just how it is." These were people who showed up, paid their taxes, gave back to their communities, and then got hit by the very system they trusted and counted on. It's genuinely difficult to process. What makes this particularly significant is the 4-decade timeline. To fully understand how we arrived at this point, we need to go back to where it all began. The first central issue was a policy known as the Windfall Elimination Provision, or WEP. It was written into federal law in 1983 and worked by reducing Social Security payments for workers who were also drawing a government pension. The official justification was that it corrected outcomes for certain higher-earning workers. But the lived reality was something very different. It penalized ordinary, everyday public servants. Picture a firefighter wrapping up a 30-year career of grueling, dangerous service to their community. Along the way, they also worked private sector jobs and paid into Social Security. Under WEP, those earned benefits were cut, purely because they also happened to have a separate public pension. They followed every rule, did everything right, and still ended up shortchanged. Then there was the government pension offset, known as the GPO. This provision delivered an especially painful blow because it targeted spousal and survivor benefits. Imagine a public school teacher whose husband spent 35 years in private industry with Social Security taxes taken out of every single paycheck. When he dies, rather than receiving the survivor protection the system promotes for widows and widowers, her benefit gets reduced by 2/3 of her own pension amount. For a significant number of surviving spouses, that formula wiped out their survivor benefit entirely. They received absolutely nothing. Step back and look at the national picture. WEP was suppressing the personal Social Security benefits of approximately 3.2 million Americans. The GPO was cutting into survivor and spousal benefits for around 700,000 more. For years, advocacy organizations fought relentlessly against both of these provisions. Bills were introduced in Congress, then lost momentum, then vanished entirely. And year after year, newly retired workers would leave their careers only to discover a reduction in benefits they had never anticipated, finding out their retirement income wouldn't come close to what they had planned for. Which brings us directly to the second part of this story, the unanimous Supreme Court victory. This is where the entire narrative shifts. Late in 2024, Congress passed the Bipartisan Social Security Fairness Act, which eliminated both WEP and the GPO from federal law. But then legal challenges surfaced, creating the threat of delays in implementation. The Supreme Court intervened and delivered that definitive 9-0 ruling. All 9 justices aligned. The repeal is upheld and takes effect immediately. That matters enormously because a 9-0 decision leaves virtually no daylight for confusion. It cuts off delays, closes loopholes, and eliminates any room for administrative foot-dragging. These payments are now legally mandated. So what does that translate to in practical, everyday terms? It means an estimated monthly increase of somewhere between $360 and $1,190 for individuals impacted by the WEP repeal. For retirees living on fixed incomes, that is not a minor adjustment. That kind of increase can represent a genuine lifeline. The difference between struggling through retirement and actually living it with stability and peace of mind. And here is the part that deserves your immediate attention. Many people may also be owed retroactive back pay. That means a meaningful lump sum could reach you sooner than you might expect. So who exactly is affected by all of this? Consider whether any of these situations apply to you. Did you work as a teacher in a state like California, Colorado, Illinois, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Ohio, or Texas, in a position that did not participate in Social Security? Were you employed as a police officer or firefighter under a separate city or municipal pension system? Or are you a surviving spouse whose benefits were reduced or eliminated entirely because of the GPO? If you or anyone close to you fits any of those descriptions, this ruling has a direct bearing on your financial future. And what comes next is critical. That brings us to Section 3, your 3-step action plan. The law has changed. But here's the part that trips people up. Even with the legal shift firmly in place, you cannot simply sit at home and wait for a larger check to appear in your account automatically. The Social Security Administration is under enormous strain right now. They are processing a tremendous volume of cases and updates simultaneously, and they will not proactively identify and correct every qualifying situation on their own. So here is your plan to take control, move your case forward, and avoid unnecessary setbacks. Step 1. Access your SSA account online. Step 2. Make direct contact with the SSA. Step 3. Gather and organize your pension documents and employment records. Let's go through each one. Step 1. Log into your official Social Security Administration account and examine your benefit estimates carefully. If you notice an upward adjustment, that's a strong indication that the Fairness Act changes are already being applied to your case. However, and this is a critical point, if nothing appears to have changed and you're confident you qualify for relief, do not assume things are quietly being handled behind the scenes. No visible change should be treated as a warning signal. Move immediately to Step 2. Step 2. Reach out to the SSA directly. I won't sugarcoat it. Wait times may be substantial. You might have time to get through several chapters of whatever book you've been meaning to read, but patience here is absolutely worth it. Sitting on hold is a minor inconvenience when compared to the prospect of recovering benefits that were unfairly withheld for years. When you do connect with a representative, take thorough notes. Write down the date, the time, and the full name of every person you speak with. Build a clear and organized paper trail from the very beginning. Step 3. Get your documentation together before you make any calls or walk into an office. Have everything ready and in order. You'll want your government pension statements along with records of any employment that was covered by Social Security. Why does this matter? Because arriving prepared removes any reason for delays. It makes it straightforward for the agency to process your file efficiently. You don't want your case sitting at the bottom of anyone's stack because something was missing. One additional note for those who are still approaching retirement rather than already in it. This change could reshape your entire filing strategy. With WEP and the GPO now effectively eliminated from the equation, some of the guidance you may have received in the past, particularly anything related to timing decisions around WEP, may simply no longer apply. The math has changed. It may be worth consulting with a fee-only fiduciary financial advisor who is current on this post-Fairness Act landscape. Sit down, recalculate your numbers, and rebuild your retirement filing plan under the new rules. And that naturally leads us into the final section, protecting yourself from scams. This part is not optional information. Whenever a major financial change like this gets public attention, criminal organizations take notice. Fraud operations move fast, and they can be highly organized, convincing, and relentless in their targeting. Bad actors may attempt to intercept your back pay or redirect your increased benefits away from you. Stay sharp. You may encounter fake websites built to look indistinguishable from the real SSA site. You might receive phone calls, text messages, or emails that sound completely official, using government-style branding and language, telling you to click a link immediately to unlock or release your funds. Understand clearly what these are. They are traps, engineered specifically to steal your personal information and your money. Commit these rules to memory. The Social Security Administration does not place unsolicited calls to request sensitive personal details. They do not send emails asking for your banking information. And they will absolutely never charge you a processing fee to release benefits you are owed. That is simply not how any of it works. If anyone contacts you making any of those claims, end the conversation immediately. Delete the message without responding. Do not engage under any circumstances. When you need to reach the SSA, do it yourself. Type the official web address directly into your browser or dial the official published phone number. Always be the one initiating contact. That is how you keep yourself protected and how you hold on to the retirement security this ruling has restored to you. Don't let a criminal take back what the courts just returned. To bring this home, this unanimous Supreme Court ruling stands as a historic milestone at the conclusion of a struggle that stretched across multiple decades. But as one important voice put it, a court can deliver justice, and people still have to go out and claim it. The action has to come from you. Take that step today. Log into your account, make the call, gather your documents, and please pass this information along. To retired colleagues, to friends, to family members, especially anyone who served in a public sector role or anyone who is a surviving spouse and may be owed money they haven't seen in years. And it leaves us with a genuinely compelling question. With years of withheld benefits now flowing back into the hands of nearly 4 million Americans, what kind of ripple effect will this wave of restored payments have on retirement spending patterns and local economies all across the country? The implications run deep. Thank you for spending this time with Right Guard USA today. We'll see you in the next breakdown.